Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. This is Record-ology Live, coming to you live from, still got to think, what is the nickname for Orlando? Is it, what is it? Anyway, Orlando, coming to you live from Orlando on this Sunday evening at 9:49 p.m. and it is September 15th. But if you're watching this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, any day of the week, maybe it's a month, a year, 10 years from now, just settle in and hang out with us. We're just going to have fun. It's timeless entertainment. At least I try to make it that way. So very random show for you tonight. Got some interesting, mostly I just want to hang out with you guys. I've been looking forward to this for several days, been planning it. The chips was something that I was planning on doing 1 or 2 lives ago, and I kept forgetting it. And I did pick up some records this weekend. Wasn't planning on doing any record shopping, but I was able to acquire a few more records, so I thought I'd share those. And I've got a bag of rocks. Why not? You know what I mean? Welcome in. Lake Chilean Studios, Super Z Dog, Super Prince. Lake Chilean Studio says, do you have any Kenny Chesney vinyl? I do not, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. Definitely appreciate some Kenny Chesney music. Absolutely. Yeah, you know, I've been doing these fairly free. Did I do one last weekend? I'm not sure if I did one last. Maybe it was the weekend before. Ooh, that reminds me. That's another album. In fact, I already kind of shared it because I did a first spin of the day earlier. But we went, I think it was last weekend, to this restaurant in Disney Springs, which is sort of like downtown Disney if you're from or seen Disneyland. It's like a huge shop. It's like everything here, though. It's like much more massive than what they've got in California. Everything's like double or triple size. But imagine like downtown Disney, but extra big. So there's restaurants, there's entertainment, there's a lot of concerts, there's nightclubs, there's bars, all kinds of stuff. And some of them are Disney owned, most of them aren't, though. And one such restaurant that we finally checked out was an Irish pub called Raglan Road. And what was really cool, first of all, it's an amazing experience. There's Irish step dancing, there's singing, there's a band playing, and it's just a fantastic, fantastic time. And what we found out is the place was actually built in Dublin, in Ireland, and then disassembled and shipped to Orlando, where it was reassembled. I apologize. The lighting's just, you know, very basic tonight. I've got just the overhead light. There's no sunlight left. It's nearly 10 p.m. here. Anyway, they have a little gift shop. Everywhere around here has a gift shop. And I found they had a CD. And I love CDs. And this is the album of the show. This was recorded at Raglan Road. And the music is great. And the food was great. Like, it's literally like the owner's mom from Ireland's recipes. And this is just some, you know, good old fashioned reels and old school Irish music. So much fun. I've been really enjoying this week. It was very, very fun to see that. So yeah, that was the first thing I acquired this week. And I really need to slow down on the acquisitions. You know, like you, we can't help ourselves. We just have so much fun. Do I have any Eddie Cantor 78s or albums? Biggest radio? Yeah, absolutely. He was huge. I don't have any Eddie Cantor. No. Digital for sure. I like MP3s and things. I have a lot of old time radio shows and things, but not on physical media, I don't think. On the last stream, I mentioned that Coldplay's Moon Music is going to be pressed on plastic bottles after it's kind of their injection molding. Interesting. But is the plastic still originally from that? That's really interesting. Jim, welcome from Indiana. What type of preamp or receiver do you use with your turntables? It depends. Since I've reviewed several preamps, I have the blessing of a few to choose from. Not that I keep every one of them, but right now I'm using the Duke Audio T4 Plus for my Pioneer PLX 500. So that's the vertical one with the 2 tubes on top. For my LP70, which right now is my right-hand turntable, I'm using the built-in preamp. For my Technics SLB5 stacker, I am right now using an IEMA T3 Pro. All of those were reviewed. Everything was reviewed on the show, so you can check that out. The T3 Pro is a solid state. Very nice design. I love it. The only thing is the power supply buzzes. So I'll put the power supply on, and after like a day of being plugged in, and it's down on the floor, so it's kind of a pain. You got to crawl down there and unplug it. You'll hear this, and it's really annoying. So I need to figure that out or switch it out for another one. The Duke audio has been flawless. I love it. And I know that even though these modern, from what I've been told, the modern preamps that have tubes are not fully tube amplified. They are like sort of like, the tubes are kind of like a filter. There's still transistors in there. And then for the LP70X, the built-in one is working fine. It's fine. Sometimes I will use a built-in one just because I have no more outlets. You have an amazing amount of electricity having 3 turntables going. The Technics requires it because it's a vintage one. The Pioneer has a good built-in preamp, but I just have the Duke over here. It fits very nicely. My desk has a raised back area to it, and I had to cut out an area for my monitor because I have a 27-inch monitor. I have to work in this spot all day. I shouldn't say have to. I get to. It's a blessing. But because I'm staring at a computer screen, I want it to be big enough for my failing eyes to see. Anyway, so I've got a speaker up on this riser. The riser extends around. It's an L-shaped desk. Underneath that, I've got LED lights. I don't know. I'm telling you all about my desk, but the preamp fits right in there very nicely. I don't use a receiver. My speakers are powered, so I use Fluence AI41s and a Victrola branded subwoofer. So they're all self-amplified. What do you feel about injection molding? Stay tuned. It's funny you mentioned that because I'm going to be showing you an injection molded record. But first, I wanted to share with you a few things. Let's start with a bag of rocks. So went down to Lakeland Antique Market, and it's like an antique mall down in Lakeland, which is about an hour south of Orlando. And what's interesting about it is it's like every other antique mall, except for the fact that it's got an amazing amount of Universal Studios and Disney props, hotel things that have been, decommissioned. So the furniture, the nightstands, the headboards, the art on the walls, the chairs, the plates, even stuff from Disney Cruise Line, Halloween Horror Nights at Universal. There'll be old, decorations and props, even ride vehicles. There's like a Matterhorn ride vehicle from Disneyland out there. There's horse-drawn carriages. There's, it's incredible. So it's like a museum, but everything's for sale. Now, everything's expensive, which means even the records, which is what I go there for mostly, are overpriced for the most part. There are some good deals to be had here and there, but overall, it's very highly priced. It's also the busiest, it's got to be the busiest antique mall in America because the word has gotten out. A lot of Disney bloggers and things have talked about it. So when you go down there, the lines, or I shouldn't say, well, sometimes there is a line to check out, but mostly there's just a lot of people going up and down those aisles. It's crazy. The parking lot is just swamped. There's some incredible dealers though there. Some vinyl shops that are, I think some people that sell vinyl maybe had a store and then decided to go to the antique mall route and rent a space there instead. It's probably a lot cheaper than having a brick and mortar store, but they run it like a legit store and there's stuff on the walls. The big one that's right up front there, I really should do a video just showing that off. I've filmed in there before. Anyway, I went there and didn't get anything. But my wife, who never gets anything, she's really into geology and rocks and minerals and geology of all sorts. Picked up a couple of things. I've kind of forced her to get into collecting. She does not like to collect. She's not a things person. She's very not into stuff at all. You know what I mean? But I've told her, it's fun. The art of collecting is fun. So she's agreed to 2 collections. She partners with me in our collection of Funko Pops, and she's collected some of the little miniature ones. because I'm like, they're not expensive. They don't take up a lot of space. And the other thing is little geology specimens, little rocks, little fossils and gems and stuff. So she wanted me to mention this on the show today. She thought maybe somebody out there would get a kick out of this. These are like $2 or $3 each. So she picked up a nice piece of amethyst, like a purple crystal. She picked up some other things that are unidentified. This is not going to look very impressive over the camera. It just looks like 2 rocks. But to the naked eye, they're like coated in this blue. So she's going to try to identify some of this. This says it's pure purple fluorite. It's like a purple crystal substance. Heavy, very dense. That's cool. I didn't know she got that one. And finally, this one just says rock specimen. It looks kind of like a blue crystalline substance. So she has fun doing that. I love supporting her in her interest because she, as you can see from the wall behind me and what you can't see off camera, she definitely supports me in mine. Hello from Indiana. If my ask what time for you? Oh, I already did that one. Sorry, Jim. But feel free to ask away any questions that you have. I want to show you the records, but before I do that, I want to show you the weird chips and kind of explain why. And then at the end of the show, I'm going to try and eat some of these. They're not that weird, but we went to the Florida Mall. Is it called the Florida Mall? And it's a massive mall. In fact, it's so big you can go there and not see everything and have spent several hours there. But we found a very interesting way to kill some time and lose some money. And it's a little almost like an arcade area, and it's all claw machines. It's all claw machines, but instead of toys in the claw machines, they have Asian snacks. There's weird ramens that you've never, everything's like nothing that you would normally get, you would find in a grocery store stateside here, which makes it interesting. And you pay, it's like going to like a Dave & Buster's. You buy a game card and then you can go tap it on different machines and use credits. They always leave you with a weird balance. Like you never have enough for an even finish. You know what I mean? How it works. But it's all weird snacks. So we saw some of these weird chips, and there's like, and they were name brands like Lay's, Cheetos, like companies that you have heard of mixed in with stuff you've never heard of. There was some weird drinks and little treats and things. And I thought it would be kind of fun just to get some weird chips and maybe try them on the show. So I want to show you what I got. And I won. These are claw machine wins. So you'd have to win at the claw machine to get the weird chips. And what impresses me about these is that they are made by companies that we know here in the United States, but the product itself is weird. Stand by for the records. We're going to go through all the records here in a minute. Any questions you have, feel free to ask them. I'll get to all the comments. The first one is Cheetos. Now, Cheetos is cheese-flavored corn puff things. And I love them, but these aren't cheese Cheetos. These are beef Cheetos. Beef Cheetos. Not just beef, but they're sirloin to differentiate. Do you think you could identify the flavor of beef versus sirloin? But as you can see there, they are beef. Looks like a medium, maybe a medium rare. Chester the Beefa. Is he Chester the Cheetah still, or is he now Chester the Beefa? I don't know, but he seems pretty excited. All of the writing is not in English. It's by PepsiCo Foods of Taiwan. And then there's by law, they have to have the nutrition info. So these are beef flavored Cheetos. You had me at sirloin anything. That can't be bad, right? Now, there was some really weird stuff like scallop flavored chips, shrimp flavored chips. These aren't that weird. I only got 2, and they're not that weird. So anyway, we're going to try beef flavored Cheetos. Why not? This one, the packaging is what really surprised me. Joseph, welcome in. Great to catch you live stream as part of your stream. You should show people how to do the counterweight because I always see a lot of people asking in your video. Yeah, exactly. I do it in some videos, and then others I don't. I don't want the videos to be like instructional videos. I know a lot of people use it for that, and I'm thankful for that, and I'm glad it's helpful. But I don't want to just make instructional videos. They're more review focused. Now, I fall into the trap of going into instructional mode by default. So unless I'm paying attention to what I'm doing and saying, and I don't script my shows, I script the ideas. And you know, like I want to do this, and then, you know, kind of have an idea, and I sort of churn the idea in my head for a couple of days. My wife says I can tell when you're working on a show because you'll just be like out of it, and I could tell the gears are turning. You're thinking of what to do. But in terms of what I say, it's not scripted. So in autopilot mode, which I normally am, I am now, I will by default go into instructional mode, which is fine, but that's why you see that happen sometimes. And other times I purposely pull back a little bit because I want it to be more, I don't want it to be an instructional video. Why? Because there's a lot of that out there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to just make it a video about what the manual says. But yeah, and I think we did it recently. I showed how to float the tone arm within the last two turntable review videos. If you go back, you'll see that. Gunmetal Guy, welcome in. I almost never get notifications of your streams. Mr. Londell, welcome in. Yeah, it's weird. I have a lot of people that have told me that, like, I never get your notifications, and I don't know what to do about it. I mean, if you've hit the bell notification, you've done everything you can do. Matthew, welcome in. I spend too much money in World Market buying weird and wonderful candy and snacks. I'm particularly fond of the strange flavors of Kit Kat in Japan. Yeah, they got green tea and stuff like that. So after I show you the records, we'll sample these. Sirloin beef Cheetos. And now this is the one that the packaging is amazing. These are, let me get it right. I want to make sure I'm saying this right before I show you this. What is this? It looks like, what is this? Like it looks like either pork or beef kebab flavored. I'm not sure which, because I do not see it. I thought I was able to translate this over. Doesn't it say on this English sticker? Lay's potato chips, Tokyo, what? Yakitori. Is that the flavor? But check this bag out. At first you may be like, oh, that's a chip bag. But that's gold foil. That's a gold foil. And this stripe right here, that's gold foil also. This is the most luxurious looking bag of chips I've ever seen. Number one. You get the little wheat things like it's a film festival. You know, winner of the #1 chip film festival. Again, all in non-English characters except for the FDA required English one. Yeah. Fancy chips. Exactly right. So we'll try those after, we'll open those up and we'll check those out after I show you the acquisitions from the week. The green teas go like the Japanese pineapple flavored Kit Kat. There's not enough pineapple candy in the US. I agree with that. I didn't know that was a problem. Do you remember those little candies? They were like oval shaped and they were wrapped in a wrapper that looked like the fruit. Like the pineapple one was wrapped in a wrapper that looked like pineapple. There was a strawberry one. It was usually strawberry or pineapple. And they had like gel in the middle of them, like a hard candy. Then there was a gel in the middle. They were always at your grandma's house. I missed those. Okay, so I showed you, let's go through the new albums of the week, new music. So Raglan Road, soundtrack from the Irish Pub. That was so much fun. Can't wait to go back there. Did not get anything at the Lakeland Antique Market, which was odd for me. Have I showed the rocks yet? Yes, I did. I'm going to do a quick overview just for you, Tim. You are the man. So these ones need to be identified. They're coated in like a blue outer coating. We got these at the Lakeland Antique Market, and they're not all identified. This is obviously an amethyst segment. My wife's super into geology, so she had a rare moment of actually buying something for herself. This one's labeled. This is blue purple fluorite, and there's one more in here. Then I promise we'll get onto the music. This one's just kind of a blue crystal. I'm not sure. It does not come across on camera. I've got just the dome light in here. It's very, this is not a high definition program. But thank you for being here, Tim. Appreciate it. Matthew says Americans tend not to like meat flavored chips. So no roast chicken or beef or bacon. That's it. I didn't know that. We'll find out if I like them. I feel like I will like them. Like I said, we didn't go for the scallop. We didn't. I would have brought brought them on the show if I got them, but we didn't win any scallop or shrimp. Just listening in on the job. I'm on my way to Fort Lauderdale Airport for pickup. Weird spins. Thank you for being there. Keep your eyes on the road. I guarantee there's nothing worth looking at here, but I thank you very much for listening in. Sometimes the heat treated minerals to get it. Oh, interesting. That's what we were wondering, if it was real or not. So after we went to an escape room, Record-ology, which was really cool in Lakeland. Really, really cool. We did like a murder mystery in a mansion kind of a thing. It was a very, very fun. If you've never done an escape room, I can't even begin to describe to you how cool they are. And afterwards, I was like, hey, let's see if we can find a record shop, because I didn't get any records at the antique mall down there. And we found this place called Jesse Carl Vinyl. I look over there because I got a sticker on the wall. I'm trying to collect stickers from different record shops I've been to. And I've never been to this shop. I made a short. I'll probably post it tomorrow, so you'll be able to see it. And I got a handful of things. Prawn cocktail chips are popular in the UK. However, they taste nothing like shrimp. Just tastes like cocktail sauce, which is fine. Interesting. Fun fact, when my wife invited me over to her house for one of our first dates, she served shrimp cocktails. Now, I was a very unsophisticated. If it was Titanic, I am Jack and she was Rose, because she was like, how do I describe this? I'd never had shrimp. Like, I'd never had like a shrimp cocktail in my life. I thought it was ketchup. I thought shrimp cocktail sauce was ketchup. I didn't know you had to take the tails off. It's an ongoing joke in the family, but yeah, I was not finished. Let's just say that. So Jesse Carl Vinyl, really cool little shop, great selection, very cool vibe. Prices were pretty fair too. I picked this up. This is the Pinocchio soundtrack. For some reason, there's a lot of Walt Disney animated CD soundtracks that are early release, like early 90s, late 80s. So this is an early CD, digitally remastered, Walt Disney Records, the Pinocchio soundtrack. This is like circa 1992. So this was before that kind of mid to late 90s branding that took over and kind of unified a lot of what you saw on their videotapes, their soundtracks. So not my favorite era from a branding perspective, but obviously the sound and the music is going to be great. Usually there's fairly minimal liner notes with these. So I'll show you what it's literally just like some lyrics, a little bit of a story, no pictures or anything. Nowadays, more contemporary releases, there'd be pictures and art and behind the scenes things. And I love all of that. Epinephra. Is that what it's called? Ephemera. Epinephra? That's like a drug. Ephemera? Stuff. Okay, we'll just call it stuff. I love the look of the Disney soundtrack LPs. However, the sound isn't great on picture discs. Too noisy. And I think that they're starting to release kind of everything now on picture disc and on black vinyl, which is good. But yeah, you think they'd fix that by now. The sound, I think they have just by releasing them, like I said, both picture disc and non-picture disc. So $6, a bit on the high side of what I pay for something like this. Pinocchio I did not have, and you don't come across Pinocchio very often. Some great music there. So I did pick that up. This is the only 2 CDs, and then we're moving on to the vinyl next. Also, I've been collecting sort of like musicals, and I love the Turner Classic series, the MGM musicals. Again, from a branding perspective and from the perspective of what you get in the booklet, the physical, I guess you would call it memorabilia that goes with it, is part of the value. This one is different though. This is an Angel Records release, classic musicals, original motion picture soundtrack. It looks like an old CD. Like this looks like, my first thought was like, oh, is this like late 80s or something? Because it looks like it predates all that. But it's actually from, I think, 2005, something like that. I can't see in here. I apologize. But yeah, so very, very interesting. A nice extended playlist. It's got a nice screen printed disc. And it does come with something more than just a black and white booklet. Let's take a look. I haven't looked in here yet. So yeah, this is a super thick book, and there's pictures, and there's threw it on the floor. There's all kinds of stuff. And then it looks like this is super neat. Look at this. There's even like behind the scenes pictures. There's music, sheet music, and a little mini poster on the back. This is part of the fun, right? This is every bit as physical media as a vinyl record. You know, it's something to read, something to look at. And I love looking at this. When I was a teenager and really into CDs, I wouldn't allow myself to listen to the music until I read the whole booklet. It's kind of weird. So, $4 for this. So this is a good add to the musicals collection. Scott, welcome in. Matt, I agree. It's great music. Dream Times, welcome in. Saw the MGM vinyl soundtracks often. It's good stuff. Which physical media takes up the most room? CDs, vinyl records, cassette tapes, reel-to-reel tapes, 8-track tapes? That's a good question. I would say vinyl, just because, well, for me it does, because it's, you saw the show this weekend. It's a storage issue, right? And I have a lot of crates full of records, and they just take up a lot. That's just the way I store it, because I don't go vertical. So every crate, there's nothing above it. You know what I mean? There's no, so once, you know, whatever 2 square feet or whatever that is occupied by that crate, there can be nothing above it. So it's eating up that much square footage. If I were to go to a shelf, which I've toyed with that idea, I do prefer the crates. I like crate digging, but at some point I may just have to bite the bullet and get like one of those IKEA crates. By the way, if you haven't done so already, I made a plea or an invitation at the end of the last show. If you're over 18 years of age, email me, record-ology1938@gmail.com, pictures and info about your record setup, specifically your storage. Send me pictures, and we're going to put a show together and highlight some of your record storage. But that's a great question. What takes up? I guess if you had the most of any of those, they could conceivably. For me, CDs take up 3 shelves on my bookshelf. Tapes take up 2 shelves and a drawer. Vinyl takes up 1 million crates. 8 tracks takes up all the space on top of my 5-disc CD changer. All my 78s fit at the bottom of this. I have like this many 78s because I pared it down to only my absolute favorites. Reel-to-reel tapes take up 2 shelves. 45s take up 2 shelves. It just depends. You know what I mean? I would say for me, vinyl. Scott, did you get the Glenn Miller CD? I did not. I didn't get it. I didn't pre-order it as early as everybody else. So I think I'm on the 2nd round of shipments. So I'm still waiting for it. I've heard it's fantastic. I would love to hear from you what you think. Joseph says, I'm really happy that vinyl records are making a comeback because record players are cool. I've always had a fascination with records and record players and how they work. I agree, Joseph. It's so much fun, and it's really, really cool. I think it's fascinating. As a quick aside, there was a record player in a movie I went to see tonight, and I'd be fascinated if somebody could identify it. It was a vintage one. I went and saw the new Beetlejuice movie. That is the weirdest movie I've ever seen in my life. Okay, that is the weirdest, bar none, movie I've ever seen. I think I saw the first Beetlejuice as a kid, but this one was amazingly weird. It was real weird. It was entertaining. It was very, very weird. It was very weird. Let's just say that. If you haven't seen that, and check out the record player. See if you can identify it. Dun, 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 dun. Matthew says, I felt sorry for Howard Keel when he was replaced by Gordon McRae in the movie. Howard Keel was Curly. What? Oh, what movie are you talking about? I'm sorry. I've lost track of what we were talking about. Are we talking about Pinocchio? Oklahoma? Let me know which movie we're talking about. Howard Keel. Size and weight are the main drawbacks of vinyl. Absolutely. It's not a it takes up a lot of space. How do you inventory your media? Discogs, spreadsheets? I don't inventory it at all. I don't do the Discogs thing. I have no interest in entering data of my record inventory. I just have it there. I try to organize it so I can find what I want when I want it. You've seen now how I categorize my records. CDs are done in a similar way, like soundtracks are in one stack, classicals in another stack, countries in another stack. And if I know I want to listen to Dolly Parton, I go to the country area and I don't have them alphabetized. These sections are random. Once they're in the section, all the Beatles records, are just randomly in there. The Patsy Cline records randomly in there, the Glenn Miller, the whatever. I just find the genre and I get to it. I can usually find everything I need that way. I will admit that sometimes I do flip through and be like, oh, I didn't know I had this. But no, I don't inventory any of my stuff. Same with Julie Andrews and Audrey Hepburn in My Fair Lady. That was an interesting story. That was an interesting story. By the way, stay tuned for some Julie Andrews. Proud owner of 5 new vinyl records. Steve, what'd you get? Scott says, well, it sounds great, and it has 55 unreleased tracks on it, and it has the complete unedited last program they did on the second CD. So I know the guys that reissued that and did all the mastering work, and it's fascinating. I was just chatting with a guy that did the transfers last night, and a lot of care went into that. I can't wait. I had to rip up a carrier for luggage so I can get them back home to Atlanta. I had to rig up a carrier for my luggage so I can get them back home to Atlanta. Oh, man. From Atlanta. Good luck. Weirder than Eraserhead? I never saw that, but I bet it is. Oklahoma, Matthew. I'm sorry. It's late. Forgive me. Oklahoma. Steve says, for Discogs, I am able to just scan the barcodes of my CDs. Oh, that's true. I've never had a desire to do that. I know so many people do. I've been trying to keep from getting duplicates, and that's a valid thing. And I have shown up with a second copy of something. My dad was a macho man, a champion boxer, someone who wouldn't be messed with, but he loved Hollywood musicals, so I followed suit. You know, it's funny. My grandpa, my dad's dad, same thing. Like a real-life Indiana Jones character, a real rugged outdoorsman, and absolutely enamored with My Fair Lady. That's his favorite movie of all time. Was his favorite. All right, let's talk about records. Because I was so happily enjoying this, I'm like, I need more world music. I need some more music from around the world. And I specifically looked in the world section. This all, except for one, came from Jesse Carl Vinyl in Lakeland. A really cool shop. I picked up this, a Ramble in Erin. Now, it sounds like that refers to a fight in a village or something. Apparently, and I spent some time on ChatGPT figuring this out, a ramble is more of a stroll in the countryside. So actually, how did I translate? Basically, it translates to a stroll in the countryside. So that's why we see the countryside. It's more of a meandering stroll by Paddy Noonan and his Irish country dance band on CoPlay Records out of Massachusetts. And yes, it does have a green label, of course. These all need to be spin cleaned and sleeved and all that. So these are fresh off the out of the store. I haven't been able to find any information on this guy. I listened to it a little bit, and it was really funny. Like the first instrument I heard was like a gosh, I'm tired. Oh, what was it? It was an accordion. And I asked my wife, I'm like, does that sound more German than Irish? She says, no, it sounds more Irish. But yeah, I picked that up for $9. That's maybe a bit high for what that is. Definitely not a super high. It says high fidelity long playing, but it's fun. Rex Harrison was not happy with Julie. She couldn't do the movie My Fair Lady with him since they did it on Broadway. Yeah, I love that sound. I have like 2 or 3 versions of that. I got the Broadway soundtrack, the movie soundtrack. Rex Harrison's amazing. Let's talk about records indeed. When CDs were first introduced, they were also called records. Yeah, absolutely. I love them. Okay, so that's the first one I picked up, $9. I'm going to save this one for last because it's the different one. This is a recommendation one of you guys made when I was talking about Rosemary Clooney and Bing Crosby. And even though I had some of their stuff on CD, but I didn't have any of them together on vinyl, except for, White Christmas soundtrack. I think that was the only thing I had them together on. So I picked up the Travelin' Tubi. This is one of the albums that you guys recommended. Bing Crosby, Rosemary Clooney on Capitol Records. And $8. Sing the great old favorites with happy new lyrics. It's on a light blue Capitol label. Have not listened to this. I listened to a few things. I try to stay away from sitting at this desk unless I'm editing or working on a project during the weekend. So if when I get my portables out, it's usually on the weekends. And this weekend's portable of choice was a Soundburger and a little Bluetooth speaker to go with it. So I did listen to a few of these. Okay, next up, what can we say about Rex Harrison? He was quite the character. Difficult is the word. I wouldn't doubt it. I don't know much about Rex Harrison. He's a great on-screen presence. So, Greg, my friend, welcome in. Amongst the new records I got was Amorphous Hello limited box set. Congratulations on $100, but I bet it was worth it to you. That's awesome to manage to get access back to the whole thing. Oh wow, that's cool, dude. That's really cool. Now you need to get Bing and Rosie doing fancy meeting you here on RCA Victor. I'll keep an eye out for it. Fellow CPU thing. Hi, this is but do Victrola's suitcase players usually skip the first second of the songs and go silent on quiet parts? I recently got one I was doing that. So if you talk about suitcase players, it's not uncommon for the needle to kind of jump in the first few grooves. And it's just cheaper record players do that. It's annoying. Sometimes if you kind of manually put it into position a couple times, you can sort of train that mechanism to be a little bit more fluid. But unfortunately, that it happens. In terms of going quiet on silent parts, if you're using Bluetooth, I could see maybe that happening if something's not working quite right. But no, it shouldn't go silent on quiet parts. You should be able to hear. If it's having trouble amplifying the quiet parts, then it could indicate a problem. I know that suitcase players, just record players in general, like to play at a louder volume. It's actually one of the performance indicators of a quality record player and amplifier and speakers is if it sounds good at a low volume. That's actually the harder thing for it to do rather than a higher volume. Doing great. Thank you so much, Greg. Okay. Next, I picked this up, Patsy Cline record. This one I don't have. I Can't Forget You. And this sort of interesting blue cover. Whenever you see a picture of a picture on an album, to me, it kind of looks like a memorialized thing. So, yeah, I mean, it's just kind of odd. This is a very interesting texture on the front. This is like a not smooth. It's very, I don't know what to say. It's got almost like a sandpaper-ish texture to it. Now, what's interesting about this particular title, I actually learned this after I bought it. I paid $9 again for this. It's on the Sears record label. What's the Sears record label? What on earth? There's the back. So Sears ran a promotion. This has got to be early 80s, maybe even 70s. I gotta look it up. And they've chosen to actually put it on a Sears record label, which there is no Sears record label, but they've chosen to put their logo on there. And this was a mail-in promotional for, I forget, actually I can pull it up because again, ChatGPT, it's really great for targeted searches. Like if you want to know specifically, what's the history of the marketing effort of blah, 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 why did they do this? And, it pulls up pretty good data. Let's see what it said about this. I was kind of fascinated. Okay. The Sears promotion involving the Patsy Cline record title, I Can't Forget You, was part of a mail order exclusive offer that included previously unreleased tracks. So they were previously unreleased tracks. The record was released by Sears' own label, which doesn't exist, typically as a way to drive sales. Now, there have been other Sears records. It's a gross misunderstanding. It's not a typical record label, I should say that. To drive sales, to attract customers to their catalog business. Dun, 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 dun. Rare, lesser-known recordings, significant because musical material was not easily available before. Yeah, so it was a mail order catalog promotional record. Pickwick. Interesting. Yeah, I have a bunch of Pickwick. Uncle Dan's Vintage Vinyl. Dang, I'd love to have that. I love Patsy Cline and Sears. If you like Patsy Cline, check out, a lot of our videos the last few years. We've done a lot of Patsy Cline material. Speaking of Julie Andrews, I've been on a bit of a Julie Andrews kick lately, and I'll have to explain why in a minute. I'm not going to explain that yet. Tim Allen says I have the 45 of the Wild Ones on the Sears record. So maybe it is a legit record label. Maybe I was totally wrong there. What Sears regular does is make their own record cover different. Interesting. Okay, well, I'm learning like usual from you guys, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. This is Broadway's Fair, Julie Andrews. If you read about her life, I just read like a pretty short synopsis. It's a very interesting thing. It's a very interesting career. Now, this is a shrink wrap, which I'm going to remove right now because I am in the no shrink wrap on my records camp, because this will shrink and continue to do so, which can contort your record, and it's not a good thing. Just put it in a good new sleeve. This is the old foggy sleeve it came in. This is interesting. You always hear about Columbia 6-eyes. This is a non-6-eye Columbia. You should call it a 2-eye. So it's still 360 sound, but there's only 2 Columbia eyes on there. So this is a standard issue Columbia record. And it wouldn't be the higher end ones wouldn't be special if they were all that way. So it's cool that sometimes there's regular ones. Superfriend says, I have Patsy Cline's greatest hits. I believe I emailed you that file. Yeah, you did. It is great. I love it. It was really fun. Thank you for that. Yeah, that's a great album. I haven't got the newest issue of that. So, yeah, I picked up this one. How much did I spend on this one? Yeah, I don't know. Probably about the same. So that was cool. And now we come to my grand finale record purchase. And this is going to get its own video. I don't know when, maybe in the next couple of weeks. But this record I sought out and acquired because so on my Bing Crosby kick of late, I was looking at free movies that were just available. I have Disney Plus, and I've got HBO Max. It's just called Max now, I think, and Hulu. And there wasn't really any Bing Crosby movies on any of those platforms to stream, but there were a few things on YouTube. So I'm assuming public domain, or they're just out there, whatever. I did find like 3 or 4 of the Road movies, which I mentioned. I have bought. I mentioned on the last live the DVD of that. Started watching those, but I watched a couple of other Bing Crosby movies. I watched one of the first ones I watched was an Irish themed one where he's like an insurance investigator looking for the Blarney Stone. It's like the most typical type of story. And then I came across this movie called High Tor, Hightor, and it was on YouTube, and it's on a couple of channels. It's been uploaded. The picture, it's like 1956, and it's terrible picture quality. It's almost unwatchable. And come to find out, the reason why, it was a made-for-TV movie, one of the first. And it was produced by the Ford Theater. Actually, I can tell you exactly. So begins the television version of the play High Tor. It was a play originally by Maxwell Anderson, one of the beautiful and distinguished famous playwrights, blah, 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 blah. Won all these awards. Come on, where's the thing? CBS television for the Ford Star Jubilee. And very, very interesting, because the movie is basically about this guy who lives in a cabin on a mountain, totally disconnected from society, and these comical they're the antagonists, but they're not really evil. They're just kind of like unscrupulous guys who are trying to buy the mountain from him for mining purposes. He doesn't want to sell, and his girlfriend that he loves so much wants him to sell so that they can go live a normal life, and he doesn't want anything modern. He wants to live on his mountain. And So the whole story takes place over one night. And during the night, all kinds of crazy stuff happens. These ghosts come on a ship, and one of the ghosts is played by Julie Andrews. That's how I got started on my Julie Andrews kick recently. I've always liked Julie Andrews and Julie Andrews stuff, but that's what really got me thinking about her again. They come and they inhabit the mountain for the night, and they're singing, and there's all kinds of escapades and things, and it's really weird. Until I saw Beetlejuice today, I would have said this is one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen. But it was strangely fun. It was a lot of fun. And then at the end of the movie, it says, if you enjoyed tonight's presentation on CBS for, Star Jubilee, you can own the experience by purchasing the record. It's a soundtrack and story record of this presentation starring Bing Crosby and Julie Andrews. And I was like, I wonder if that record still exists. So I went on eBay, and sure enough, it's out there. And I bought a copy, and it wasn't even expensive. They're still out there. So if you are bored and you don't have something to watch, might I recommend High Tor, High-Tor, which is the name of a real mountain around New York. And it's very geographically speaking accurate, I guess. So I picked up this record, and it's a bizarre record. So first of all, it's blue, and I don't know why it's blue. It's very strange. It seems like the other copies, some of them are more blue than others, but it is blue. So it's blue. I don't know why. Also, this picture, very, very strange picture. Bing Crosby's looking at a different camera, or he's distracted. And it almost looks like a frame out of the show, out of the movie. It's just odd. It's very, very bizarre. I love the art up here of the old television camera on the Ford logo. Decca Records. It's a legit Decca pressing. This was Julie Andrews' first screen performance. She was like 21 years old here, although she looks older than that to me in this movie. But I picked this up. In fact, I just got it today, and I was driving around all day with 100-degree temperatures. This thing was in the back of the car. The vendor I bought it from, the seller I bought it from, had it so well packed that it didn't melt. But there was another reason why it didn't melt either, even though I wasn't practicing good record storage by having it sitting in a hot car. And that is the fact that, like, mid to late 50s Decca Records, this thing is not vinyl. This is a styrene 12-inch record on that awesome, and if you're a Patsy Cline collector, elusive silver and black Decca label. And let me see. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it. I'm going to hold this up to the microphone. I'm going to do the tap test. Listen, it sounds like glass. I don't know if that's coming through, but it's got that sort of glassy resonance to it when you tap it, not a dull thud. And I listened to a little bit of it. It sounds fantastic. And all styrene, if I said shellac, I meant styrene. All styrene 12-inch records that I've listened to actually sound fantastic, and they haven't seemed to wear out whatsoever. But anyway, the reason why I about injection molding earlier, this is injection molded. So styrene records are injection molded. And yeah, some pretty interesting stuff there. Pick this up. I've listened to a little bit of it, and it's not just the songs from the movie, which are weird songs. They're very weird. The whole movie's weird. It's a very weird movie, but very entertaining. It's got a narration. It's a book. It's a story and music from it. So that's what I bought. That's the complete thing from my acquisitions. And I've got my eye on a couple. I always have my eye on a couple of things. I don't need anything. I'm spoiled rotten as always. I'm very thankful and grateful for everything, and it will get listened to quite often. All right, it's time for some weird chips once I get caught up on comments. Let's see here. I appreciate you guys been chatting here. Recently got a Petula Clark from the 60s and still had the poster in it. The guy didn't notice it or didn't care. Interesting. Dan's Vintage Vinyl says such a great voice Julie Andrews had. Absolutely. Matthew says, oh, the fact that Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke are both still with us. Absolutely. Steve says, the fondest thing I have about Julie Andrews, just how many times I've seen Sound of Music in my life. Just always love that movie. It's great. It's timeless. That's why you can see it a million times. It's timeless. The 6-eyed Columbia label ended, and the 2-eyed label started in 62. Interesting. Thank you, Scott. Was the CBS label started in 62? Nerds reselling and picking. Howdy, howdy. Not sure I've caught the live before, but thanks for the fun, insightful videos. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you being there. CBS label was scrapped in about 85. Are you in Florida? Late night? Yep. Yeah, Orlando. I moved here from Denver almost 2 years ago. Something to do with the Sony sale. I'm learning so much here by the minute. Thank you guys for all the education. I'm doing very well, Clay. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate you, my friend. The original 1989 CD pressing of Heat Waves, Too Hot to Handle album 76. That's cool. Jerry says the dream sequence at the end of Beetlejuice 2 played the opening theme of the 1976 movie Carrie. Really? Interesting. Hey, Music Junkie, welcome in. CBS label became Sony in 91. Decas are highly regarded. Yeah, my just off camera here, one of my prize records, that Patsy Cline self-titled 1957 original, is another styrene silver and black label. I agree. They're good. And, you know, most people run screaming when they hear styrene, but I think that only applies to 45s from what I've learned, because the styrene 12-inch records are fantastic. They are more resilient in terms of warpage, and I think they were designed to, I mean, if you're tracking with whatever that was being played on in 1956, I guarantee you that I'm not going to track even anywhere near that heavy, you know, even though we're talking about, you know, obviously a micro groove modern phonograph. It was probably designed to be played at 9 or 10 grams of tracking force, which is sort of the standard for records, but certainly nothing. Right now I'm tracking, my Pioneer is set up to track at 1.75 grams. I forget, I think 2.5 to 3 grams on the LP70. And I think I'm tracking at 1.75 grams on the Technics up there. Joseph says I just recently got a bunch of records for $1 each. Awesome. Nice find, dude. That's awesome. Last LP I bought from CBS was going to make you CNC Music Factory. Man, I played that song to death. Did your undergrad at DU? That's awesome. Yeah, my wife and I, we raised our kids, and once they moved out, we put into motion a plan that we'd had for several years to come out here to Florida and just, you know, live our best life and do as much cool, fun, round the clock activities that we can. You know, it's always summer, so although it actually cools off nicely in wintertime, but just really enjoying all of the stuff that we're doing now. Maybe down here for, you know, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, I don't know. But while we're here, we're really enjoying it. I haven't had to shovel snow in a couple of years now, and I'm thankful for it. Really interesting, Matthew. Thank you for the trivia. Yeah, I know that orange RCA very well. Vaughn Brothers Family Style was released on Epic Records in 90 under CBS. Jerry Span says, I think the larger the surface area of a styrene 12-inch record makes it resonate differently, resulting in better sound. That's really, and I wonder if they did it for that reason or if they did it for a cost savings reason. What is your favorite movie soundtrack? Oh, that's a good question. I love soundtracks. I've collected soundtracks for decades, and I should do a show on soundtracks. I love all Disney animated film soundtracks. Pretty much any movie that I go see, I immediately download the soundtrack. Like I will be getting downloading in my Apple playlist, the Beetlejuice soundtrack. I like the Titanic soundtrack immensely. The Gettysburg soundtrack is one of my favorites. Men in Black, Home Alone soundtracks. I love anything Star Wars. I've got a lot of Star Trek soundtracks. Obviously, anything John Williams does. Jurassic Park is one of my all-time favorites. Those are just off the top of my head. The Capitol set. So I talked about that's like the U.S. re-release box set. $250 for the whole thing. I've got I now have every Beatles UK album release either on vinyl or on CD, and also in some cases on cassette and 8-track. I feel like I'm done with that for right now. I don't feel like I mean, if I found a good deal on some vinyl, I'd probably add to the vinyl a bit. I don't have everything. I've got some compilation stuff as well. I've got a bootleg. I feel like I've got every song, you know what I mean, in some form or fashion. So I feel like I've got what I need. I know they do the yearly re-release. I did get the Red and Blue box set last year on the Red and Blue album, or a Red and Blue vinyl. But I don't feel the need to every year just arbitrarily get whatever they put out. So I'm probably going to skip it. A buddy of mine collects the U.S. albums over the UK ones, so he'll have more interest in it than I will. But yeah. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? Yep, I've got a copy of that somebody made for me. In the Family. It wasn't sold. It was given. In fact, now that I think about it, it is just a regular release. So never mind what I said. I got a copy of that. Got my first record player based on your reviews. Thank you so much. Looking for is Edwin Starr Clean from 78. Sounds obscure. I like it. Coral Lawrence Welk album sounded very good. Yes. Coral, yeah, Coral's real. I like Coral a lot. Obviously, a Decca subsidiary. And I like Lawrence Welk, too. I know it's the uncoolest big band of all time. I actually personally think that had Glenn Miller lived, he would have gone a similar route. My grandma loved Lawrence Welk. And my dad remembers growing up in the 60s having, they had a living room in their basement. My grandpa built their house. And there's a full living room in the basement, or was, I should say. And the fireplace that was upstairs was also repeated down on the lower floor, and all brickwork and whatnot. And Dad told me that he remembers Saturday nights they'd watch Lawrence. Was it Saturday night or Sunday night? I think it was Saturday nights. Lawrence Welk, and they'd order a pizza, and it was always cold in the basement. Obviously, this is back in Denver, and Grandma would always be sitting halfway in the fire. He said, just try and stay warm while Lawrence Welk was on. So I love it because they loved it. And I also just like the music. And the video is, watching it is fun too. There's a Lawrence Welk resort in Branson I've been to. It's very nice. Very, very cool. Lots of little Easter eggs for Lawrence Welk fans. Yeah, that's a good point, Music Junkie. 2001 Space Odyssey is timeless. Have you actually been in Gettysburg? I've not. So I'm a historian on the side. I've been a historian, fan of history for many, many years. I have artifacts from Gettysburg. I've been to Civil War battlefields, but not that one. It's a life goal to get up there and do that. I absolutely want to. I'm very, very familiar. I've studied that particular battle more than any other. I'm very, 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 very familiar with it. I love the history and obviously the significance of it. Yeah, very sobering. And this, when you step on a battlefield, a Civil War battlefield, I'm sure any battlefield, there's a spiritual aura. There is some kind of sixth sense, something you feel. And I do not have. My wife has a very strong sense for spiritual matters and things. So does my mom. I don't feel that. Like, I don't usually feel like, oh, this is creepy or this, whatever. But there was a couple of times in my life that I have felt something, and one of them was going on a Civil War battlefield, just almost like a heaviness, a sadness almost of the incredible sacrifice that happened on that field of battle. And then the second time I felt it was on the Queen Mary. I was, they had I don't know if they still, I think they still do, but Queen Mary now, obviously in Long Beach, and it's permanently anchored now. I think it's set in concrete, but it's still in the water. And they have this little hole cut in the side of the ship, and you go there. We took the kids there just to kill some time when we were on a trip there back 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And no, it would have been like 15, 20 years ago now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway, they had a hole cut in the side and then like a room enclosure stuck onto the opening so that it allowed you to walk out of the side of the ship and look down the shaft of water to see the propeller underwater, which was like 60 feet down. And it's, I don't have vertigo. I don't have any kind of spatial issues or balance issues or inner ear things. But when I walked into, first of all, the ship was creepy. Like it just felt creepy. And I was super I've researched the Titanic. I love the history of ocean liners. The significance of it all is amazing. I walked into this little enclosure and looked down in the water. Even though it was bright daylight outside, it was still pitch dark. And they actually had a light down there, and a little scuba guy posed as a little statue. But something about looking down that shaft, I was like, I backed off. And I'm like, no. It wasn't about the height. It wasn't about the water. It wasn't creepy in the sense of anything that I was looking at. There was some kind of something. It was weird, and I never get that. I was like, I don't want to be here right now. I want to get out of here. And we had bought tickets for like a haunted tour, which we didn't think would be that big of a deal. And we asked like we have, the kids were young. We're like, this is more silly, right? It's not. And they're like, oh yeah, it's fine. Kids can do this. No problem. Well, it got too intense for the kids, and it was creepy for us too. So we left. But those were the two times I ever felt any sort of sixth sense, as it were. I would love to go there someday. Brian, welcome in, my friend. Sorry I'm behind on comments. I'm going to eat these weird chips and call it a night here. If you didn't see the record reviews, the records that we showed, check out the replay. Oh, well, I'm behind on comments again. Let me get caught up here. I live in Minnesota. Long live the first Minnesota. Do you think CDs still sound better than vinyl? They sound different, and I do think that they're technically superior, but I do love the sound of vinyl, and there are times when I prefer it. But I do think from a technical standpoint that CDs do sound better. I love all physical media, and I appreciate the imperfections of vinyl, CDs, anything. I'm not against any physical media whatsoever, or streaming. I love new streaming. Streaming these days is better than ever. Dolby Atmos and all this stuff. It's incredible. Favorite ambient artist? I'm leaning towards Alio Da. I don't know if I could name an artist. Ambient music, though, I love like the One Stormy Weekend, One Stormy Night albums, the Mystic Moods albums. Those are great ambient music to play while you work. I'm trying to find the Hollies Distant Light original 72 epic. I think vinyl records is king. Obviously, a lot of us do. Live right across the street from the old Salem Church, and pretty wild seeing the bullet holes on the side facing the town. Chancellorsville is just down the street. Wow. So much history. And one thing I've noticed, there was a lot of history in Colorado, obviously, but it seemed more sparse, and it wasn't as densely packed. Whereas here on the East Coast, I feel like there's so much. I feel sad that EMI didn't manage to stay independent. Lots of history right there in Fredericksburg, absolutely. CDs sound fuller, but vinyl sounds warmer. It's a good way to describe it. Used to have Distant Light by the Hollies on the album. Joseph says, hi, I'm from Western Pennsylvania. Highly recommend going to the Battle of Gettysburg. Yeah, I need to. I want to so much. Movie Spud says, yes, Lawrence Welk Resort. Brand says, great fun. Did you ever see the $1 Million Quartet? I saw the ads for years, and I never made it to see it. I would love to. Have you ever been outside USRO? Oh, he's asking. I think you're asking somebody else. No, you're asking me. Have you been outside the U.S. Record-ology? I have not. I want to so much. I want to go to England. I want to travel a lot of play. I want to go to Canada. I've been to Hawaii. That's as far out as I've gone, geographically. But I have never. I've been so close to Canada. I've seen Canadian flags across the Detroit River, but I have never stepped foot on foreign soil. It is an absolute bucket list for me. I want to do it so much. Matthew says, I'm glad the Beatles Capitol sets in mono. The stereo mixes are horrid. It's interesting about stereo. There's so many versions of Beatles songs I'm learning, and that's really strange to me. But somebody was like, oh, I can't stand Beatles stereo because it's all split track and the voices are on one side and the music's on the other. And we've talked about why that is in the past for mixing purposes. But I have a lot of stereo Beatles stuff, not just the new remixes, but some original stereo mixes that aren't split track. They're just regular stereo. And they sound great to me. They sound great. I like the mono too, but I've never been in the mono camp when it comes to Beatles. I've never felt the need to seek out mono Beatles over stereo. I agree split track is annoying, and I would prefer mono over split track, I would agree. But if it's non-split track stereo, I think it's fine. Maybe that's because I'm a relatively new Beatles fan, and I just don't know any better. Interesting. I'll have to take those recommendations, Music Junkie. Thank you. Saw the Beatles Capitol reissues their stereo versions compressed to mono. So they're, what do they call that? Folded down to mono. CDs are more accurate than vinyl, but I love vinyl. I think it's a good way to put it, Uncle Dan. Clay Ben Treese Jr., thank you so much for being here. I think the original release on CD sound much better than the remastered. That's why I like the original CD releases of Michael Jackson's Bad. I love that album. I literally wore out my copy of Bad on cassette and had to buy another copy as a kid. I loved it. Tim Hecker is another recommendation for ambient music. Hope Michael Framer isn't listening. He'll give you a talking to about your CD comments. Even though Michael Framer and I have differing opinions on things, one thing that I do agree with him immensely about is that a vinyl record forces you to stop what you're doing and listen to it more so than other formats. And also, I'll just say that. I think that that's a very valid point, because when I listen to streaming, I'm walking, I'm driving, I'm doing something else. It's background, and it may be good quality background, but there's no physical anything. I'm not having to put it on. It takes no discipline to acquire, because I don't have to go find it. I don't have to purchase it. If you buy something, you're making a sacrifice. You pay for the streaming service, but it's on repeat. You're not thinking about that. Most people aren't thinking about that's why there's companies now that you pay to discover and cancel your subscriptions, because we have so many these days. But a CD, a record, you have to say, I want it, find it, afford it, purchase it, acquire it. Then when it comes to listening to it, you sit down, you put it on, you look at the liner notes, and it's an experience. So that would definitely be some common ground. You are gonna have albums that sound good and albums that sound bad, and the same with CDs. That's how I see it. It's been like that for years. Agreed. Mastering is important. A lot of people say they didn't like the mastering on the new Beatles Red and Blue albums. Are they new still? They're a year old now. One of my favorite songs, I agree, I did not like the new master. I think it was Don't Let Me Down, because the keyboard work is almost inaudible now. And I love the interplay between the guitars, the vocals, and the keyboard of Billy Preston. Was it Billy Preston? And you can almost not even hear it in the new mixes, which is a bummer. I love the original mix on that song. I think there was one or two that I didn't really like the new mixes on. Original 1983 press CD of Michael Jackson's Thriller on CD sounds much better than any of the remasters out there. That's interesting. No, you're watching the real. I think you're watching the real one, Sean. I'm still on right now. It is 10:58 p.m. East Coast time as I say this. Supper Prince, vinyl to me sounds better than any CD, at least my thoughts. Fair enough, absolutely. Reel to reel sounds better than all the other audio. Jerry, the thing is, and I agree, that's the true audiophile media. And the reason is it's fully independent channels. You know what I mean? The vinyl record below, I think, what is it, 20 hertz? Or could it be, was it 20? The lower the frequency, the more non-distinct the channels get. The stereo effect is more prominent in the higher frequencies. And then in the lower frequencies, there's less stereo separation because it's one groove. And that needle in a stereo record is not just going left and right, but it's going up and down, left and right, up and to the right. So it's a dynamic thing, but it's still one groove. It's never disengaged from reading the other channel. Whereas as a tape, it can be compact cassette, reel to reel, 8-track, whatever, is fully independent tracks. Same thing with CD. You know, there's no such thing as a mono CD because the Red Book format standard dictates that a CD is 2 tracks. There's 2 tracks. So if it's mono, it's a dual track mono. Hope you invest some Kraftwerk album someday. I'll have to check it out for sure. I was stationed aboard the USS Lexington back in the 80s. They say it was haunted. That stuff's interesting. Really is. Doing great, Greg. Thank you so much for being there, my friend. Good grief. I'm so far behind. I'm so sorry. Yeah, reel to reel is amazing. DAT. Haven't gotten into it. I mean, I used DAT back in my broadcasting days, but do you have any? Why do you have HMV picks on the wall if you like CDs? I love it all. I have a lot of records. I love records. The physical aspect of it, the history of it, obviously. You know, this is a record show, so we feature that. I just happen to be somebody that doesn't dislike CDs. I did not like the special edition remaster Michael Jackson's albums for 2001, Off the Wall and Thriller, Bad and Dangerous. They were not all that. Yeah, for me, I had all the originals up to the last Michael Jackson album I bought was History, which was like partial. It was on cassette too, because at the time I couldn't afford the CD, which is what I wanted. Now the vinyl versions of that are expensive. Same thing with the Beatles. Let It Be Naked on vinyl. Let It Be Naked on vinyl is like a $300 album, $250 album. CD's $7. That's why I got the CD one, but the vinyl version of that, a lot of money. I only have a little bit of vinyl of my. I've got Bad on picture disc. I've got The Way You Make Me Feel single, and that's it. And I love Michael Jackson, so but that stuff is hard to find. I mean, you don't find that at the record shop very often. Wasn't too keen on the new mix of I Am the Walrus. Yeah, that was the other one everybody said they weren't keen on. Movie Spud Set the Years, 65th anniversary, Miles Davis, Kind of Blue. Yeah. Somebody gave me, one of you guys gave me an audio file UHDR pressing of Kind of Blue, and it's next level. It's so cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, if I miss a question, I apologize. It's not for lack of effort. Music Junkie, a lot of digital recordings in the 1990s originated on DAT. Well, that's interesting. Reel-to-reel tapes do edge. They flake. They shedding. I've got problems with my reel-to-reel deck, and that's why I haven't featured it a lot recently. I've got my Akai GX4000. I had a short on the RCA jack input, and so I soldered. I fixed that, and then when I did that, now my playback on the left channel is extremely low, and I'm hoping it's just a dirty head or something, but I need to fiddle around with that. See, I need more Michael Jackson on vinyl. I really, really do. Lakeshore portable CD. Oh yeah, you mentioned that. I think in a comment recently. Lakeshore. It's kind of like the modern classroom record player, music player type. That's really, really cool. That's super cool. Yeah, I need to check that out. Yeah, that is the epitome of 60s cool. Phillips suitcase reel to reel. Very cool. Best Michael Jackson's album to me is Off the Wall, Thriller, bad. Quincy Jones. Love Quincy Jones material. You know what's like one of my favorites of Quincy Jones? And I've never seen it. There has to be a record of it. I would love to pick up a copy of it. It was the soundtrack to the original Out of Towners movie with Sandy Dennis and Jack Lemmon. Not the remake, but the original. Man, the music is so good. It is so, so good. What was that, like 60? I want to say like 69, 70, right around there somewhere. Can't find that anywhere. But man, the opening music, especially the theme, it's amazing. Absolutely, Uncle Dan, you got it. What do you think about HD tracks like the Beatles, Revolve 24-bit 96 kilohertz? I think it's cool. I absolutely, I think that's cool. I love digital stuff. I listen to digital music every single day. I have an MP3 player that I literally listen to every single night. Speaking of ambient stuff, I listen to a lot of that stuff. I know, Larry, the notifications, I don't know why that is, but you're not the only one. Today is 8-track day. Is it really? I remember that last year. I think I mentioned it. Vinyl is king. Let's have a word about Sergio Mendes. Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that music so much. It's cracking me up. Yeah, the app, Jerry, I agree. The Apple Music lossless is incredible, and the Dolby Atmos, it's crazy. First record player I got was 7 years old. As a voice of music, suitcase player, great. Quincy Jones and Herbie Hancock are the goats. Absolutely. Hey, Record-ology, send you a picture, part of my collection. Really cool. I have her. Make sure, by the way, if I haven't said it 38 times, to be over 18 if you send anything or communicate with us on the channel email, please. But if you're over 18, please send us your pictures and descriptions of your record storage, because we're going to do a best of and highlight that stuff on the show. Herbie Hancock's Perfect Machine on CD and LP and cassette. Coltrane classic, of course. 10-inch records on old record players, absolutely. Ascension. Purple Quincy soundtrack is a Pawnbroker. I've heard Pawnbroker. That's good stuff too. Yeah, I love Coltrane as well. Yeah, I've got too much of everything when it comes to physical. Is it too much? All right, as promised, we're going to try these weird chips. So beef sirloin Cheetos. If you missed the story of how I came into possession of these, watch the replay. Initial thought, oh, ooh, they don't look good. I expect the Cheetos to be orange, but they're not cheese Cheetos, so why would they be orange? Just saw Rod Stewart trending on social media, was worried. Oh, it's a concert. Okay, good. You know who was playing at Epcot last night was Tiffany. And I was trying to think, what songs do I know from Tiffany besides I Think We're Alone Now, or whatever the song is, the song. I think that was the big one for her. Beef sirloin Cheetos. Smells like just, oh, that's weird. It smells like ramen noodles when you first open a package of ramen. No cheese whatsoever. So here is, that's weird. It's the shape and texture of a Cheeto, but okay, here we go. Beef sirloin Cheeto. Very strong. It's like somebody sucked all the cheese off of a Cheeto and dipped it in like some kind of strong seasoning. I mean, it's just my mind is like trying to make it a Cheeto, cheese Cheeto, but it's not. Not awful. It's strange. It's strange. I'm gonna make my wife try these tomorrow. put a little piece of tape on here to seal it up. It's not bad. It's weird, but it's not bad. Okay. We'll try the other one here in a minute. Quincy Jones stuff from the 60s. Yeah, Soul Bossa Nova. Such a good song. Stop I have on CD. Original 1980 version of Marvin Gaye's Midnight. Marvin Gaye music. So good. I need to get some Marvin Gaye and some Coltrane. I was in Japan for a month right before the pandemic. Yeah, very interesting stuff. I do dig moving coil cartridges. I don't have any. I've never had one, even though I've got a few preamps that can handle it. Oh, Marmite flavor chips. Sorry, America. Matthew. Oh. Yeah, that's not. We know not of that flavor. Okay, next up is this. Some kind of skewer. I'm hoping it's pork or beef. It set up my acid reflux, those chips. Tokyo Yakitori. Debbie Gibson. No, it's Tiffany. Now I'm looking it up. Excuse me. I have a hip clip, not hip clip. I have a pocket rocker. Okay, now the internet's not going to work. Yeah, I think we're alone now. Tiffany, 1987, which they just released a remix of, strangely. Oh wait, Music Junkie saying, "Only in my dreams." So you were sorry. I'm correcting things that weren't even being said. Only in my dreams was, yeah, that was Debbie Gibson. She also had, I think we're alone now. It could have been 80s Baby all this time. I saw him standing there. Should have been me. Good grief. I'm sweating. Why? It wasn't spicy. Okay, we're going to go on to this one. I told my wife I'd be on for 30 minutes, and it's an hour and 20. She knew it was going to be that way. She's like, you can't go on for 30 minutes. It's going to be at least an hour. Okay. It's like very much like American chips. There's like 4 chips in this bag. Again, the foil, the gold foil is incredible. This is a very luxurious and large chip bag comparatively. Visual. Okay, first smell. Ugh. Seasonings that I'm not used to. Oh, not gross, but just different. What are the seasoning types in here? We got potato palm oil, sugar, glucose, table salt, maltodextrin, sodium citrate, silicone, blah, 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 blah. What? Flavoring agent, sodium 5, sodium this, citric acid, sweeteners, aspartames and things. It's not good for you. I mean, this is... All right, what is this? It looks fairly not... They look miniature. They're like smaller than... Ooh! Oh! Sour. I guess it's just sweet and sour. Ugh. That's a no. Oh, I hope my wife is asleep and not watching this because I want her to have to try this. Oh, that's a no, sis. Ooh. I could deal with these a little bit. This was a sweet, sour non-goodness. Quincy Jones. Hey, Google, is Quincy Jones alive?
Sorry, I don't understand, but I found something similar. Do you want to know what is Quincy Jones doing today?
Yeah, I guess he's alive. Hey, Google, stop. Coleman Hawkins is a classic. That's not going down well. Let me get going. So have a good evening. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. So never saw the need for moving coil cartridge. I know they output very low levels. Tiffany and Debbie Gibson have toured together recently. I guess that makes sense. Miles Davis, again, really good stuff. Those Japanese chips are supposed to taste like grilled chicken. It said Tokyo Yakitori. What does that mean? Sorry, I'm old. I have to. Product name, Lay's potato chips, Tokyo Yakitori. Product of Taiwan. Oof. These seem fairly innocuous, and I was like, or innocuous, and I was thinking they wouldn't be that bad. This one was definitely gross. So it really makes me thankful that I didn't get the scallops or the shrimp ones. Preferred Martika. She was more my cup of tea. My favorite Miles Davis album is Doo-Bop. I know, you're supposed to like Kind of Blue. Usually the only one people that aren't like into jazz deeply would know about. But yeah, I mean, he's classic talent. Absolutely. Super Prince says, a needle and cartridge I use is the red needle Ortofon 2M Red. I've had that. It was okay. It was good. It was really good. I ended up selling it with a record player. It's the exact same cartridge as the blue. It's just the bonded version instead of the nude. If you like Kit Kat, there are all kinds of yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Absolutely. Hip-hop hip hop is my favorite music. So anything a true old school hip hop beats is my schnizzit, my shiznit. I love it. That's cool. I love hip hop too. I really can just eat one, Steve. I can totally just eat one. Yakitori is grilled chicken, Joseph says. Thank you. So it is grilled chicken, and I don't like it. Audio Technica VM540ml, which would be a micro line. It's a good thing. Is as good of a cartridge as you would realistically need. That'll bring out all the information. Sorry, Uncle Dan. I didn't mean to. I've done that before. I've set off people's things. I personally loathe hip-hop, power prog, heavy metal is where it's at for me. Says Steve, which group and person do you have the most items of? Says Dream Times. Largest collections are going to be Glenn Miller, Patsy Cline, Peggy Lee, Jackie Gleason. I'm about to start a named Bing Crosby collection because it's starting to grow. I would say those are the most of any specific artist. I'm getting inoculated from those chips, probably. Did he really appear on? Oh, really? The Weeknd. That's so cool. Not enough metal with hip hop drums, though. I love the metal and hip hop crossover stuff. I think that's good. Matthew says, I like Worcestershire, Shosh flavored chips. You can't get them in the U.S. You know, I was like 20 before I realized Worcestershire sauce has anchovies in it. I still like it, though. Uncle Dan says, I have a Sumiko Blue Point, original version, high output, moving coil. Sounds great, but no better than a good moving magnet cartridge. I've got a Sumiko Black Pearl on the Pioneer right now. What do you do with all the products you review? Probably my number one most asked question, which is probably what I would ask if I was my own viewer. Do you return back to Amazon ever? No. So the products are purchased. They are sometimes samples that the companies send for review purposes. And sometimes they're sent in from viewers. We've reviewed a few turntables that viewers sent in, and it just depends. So yeah, that's the way it's done. What do I do with them? I try to keep the most interesting pieces for use on shows in the future, because if we're, showing records and we're demonstrating things, I like to keep the variety there. So I do keep a collection of turntables, various types. We keep portables. We keep, kind of some of everything. Others get gifted. They get donated. We've given to charity. We've sold. We do a lot of viewer giveaways. We've given away a lot of turntables and records on the channel, and we're going to be doing more of those. So stay tuned, and you can also possibly, perhaps, win one. The Birth of Cool is my favorite Miles Davis album, says Mr. Londells. I've been watching on my Roku. Does that mean I'm on a big TV right now? Dang it. Thought of me being on a big TV. Thank you for watching. I just bought Oreo cookies. My daughter tried that. She said it's very, very sweet. Yeah, I was so bummed East West was closing. I have their sticker on the wall still. But I discovered a new shop. By the way, there's a Lakeland record fair coming up in the not too distant future. Jesse Carl Vinyl presents, and that's the record shop I discovered, Jesse Carl Vinyl. And right here we've got the International Record Show. So this is an alternating one in the Orlando area. Every other one is the international, and the non-international are just the Orlando Record Show. It's a great show. This is a favorite. I'll have to check that out. A Tale by Quincy. Most of my albums and CDs and cassettes are mostly CBS. Really? That's really, really interesting. Gosh, I'm behind on. I'm going to get caught up on comments, and we'll call it a night. I've got meetings first thing in the morning. I got to get some sleep. Moving coil cartridges are just too expensive. You can't replace the stylus. Is that really? On a moving coil, you can't replace the stylus? I didn't know that. Do you have any Billy Vaughn albums? I may. But yeah, I agree. Great music. Sketches of Spain, a close second. Also love Cab Calloway. Me too. Dance sequence on film, Nicholas Brothers. Oh, okay. So if you like some Nicholas Brothers dancing, yeah, the Cab Calloway or the that I know what you're talking. What song is that? I love Cab Calloway and I love the Nicholas Brothers. There was an amazing sequence. There's a couple of them. The number one, the best one, is the one you're describing. Jump and Jive. Jump and Jive is incredible. With on YouTube, check it out. I guarantee you've never seen anybody jump over somebody else and land in the splits, and then have the other guy jump over him and land on the splits, going down giant stairs, landing in the splits. Fred Astaire was blown away. Fred Astaire's jaw was on the floor at the Nicholas Brothers. He couldn't believe what they were able to do. Also, if you like Nicholas Brothers dance sequences, check out Chattanooga Choo Choo from the movie Happened in Sun Valley, Glenn Miller movie. Fantastic sequence featuring Dorothy Dandridge. And then there's another one in the movie Orchestra Wives. Just type in Nicholas Brothers Glenn Miller movie and you'll find both of them. Incredible. But I agree, the jump and jive one, the jumping splits is incredible. Absolutely. Those guys could go into the splits, be totally down, like not regular man splits. I'm talking about full, splits, and then scissor up into a standing position. So they were going down these giant steps, and the guy one of their brothers would jump over the other one, splits, and then the other one was already in the splits and would stand up and jump over the other one into splits and into split. It's crazy, dude. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Taspins, thank you so very, very much. So glad that you are in the inner circle. He is a member, she or they are a member of the membership program, and I thank you so much for being there and supporting the channel. Anybody can join, 99 cents a month. We do exclusive access to shows. Early access, I should say. We do exclusive content and shorts and things. So everybody's invited to join that as well. 99 cents a month. Steve says, I love that LP gear versus reference cartridge with the Shibata stylus on my Technics SLQ15 turntable. Was not cheap, but it really sounds incredible. I bet it does. Appreciate all the time you spend with us. Thank you, my friend. I'm glad. I'm happy to do it. No, she's totally cool. Totally cool. Yep, join the channel, just 99 cents. Larry is not only a member, but he's also a customer. No, he's a mod as well. So he's got the wrench. Thank you for modding, Larry. Appreciate it. And but yeah, you get access to special icons, different colored R's depending on how long you've been a member, and then you can use special emojis and things in the chat. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate it. Yeah, Bing Crosby Christmas music, can't go wrong. Good grief, I'm further behind than I thought. I'm so far behind. I'm so sorry. I got to get caught up on this. I got to wrap this up. I'm going to go way too long tonight. Oh, geez. Just say Worcester sauce. No need to mention the county. Worcestershire, Shire? Worcester sauce. Okay, easy to pronounce. If you were ever vegan, Henderson sauce is good. Similar with no anchovy. That's interesting. Really like it when stores come out with their own stuff, like Best Buy making their own record player. I agree. I think that's fun. There was a Walmart record player. It was not as good. Target made a decent one or sold a decent one. Daft Punk. I love all the different music that we're into. We all have a common interest on record players and technologies, and then we've got some people have similar musical interests, and sometimes our musical interests are very different. Yeah, Larry, he did a lot of TV stuff. Absolutely. This is special editions, big chains used to release. Nicholas Brothers sequence, one of the finest pieces of art I've ever seen. I agree. Spike Jonze did a lot of legit music without the novelty stuff. Absolutely. Spike Jonze, I think, got his start in the band. It might have been in the, what was the band that was always, John Trotter Orchestra with Bing Crosby. I think he got his start in the John Trotter Orchestra. Spike Jonze is fun stuff. Hey, welcome in. Hector 8113, thank you so much, my friend. Stormy Weather. I love some Lena Horne music, too. Speaking of Stormy Weather, I love Lena Horne's early MGM musical music. I love all of her music, but I especially like the early stuff. Father of Disco, Euro Disco. Epic stereo cassette. Interesting. This is interesting. You guys are educating me on so many different kinds of music and artists. I apologize if I'm not answering every comment and trying to go through them kind of quickly. Tim Allen, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Will do. I'll say hello to the missus. Really appreciate you being there. Barishnikov was a big fan of the Nick. Really? Wouldn't have thought that. That's interesting. I still need to check that out about the streams. I still need to check that out. I know you like Patsy Cline and Dolly Parton, but what male country artists do you like? Who are your favorites? Um, from in terms of old school country male artists, I like Ernest Tubb. And he's like not a technically good singer. That's what makes it kind of fun. It's just like a guy singing. I like some Kenny Rogers stuff. I like Johnny Cash. Oh, geez, I like. There's a bunch of of people that that I enjoy, like the early stuff, like the 50s, 60s era stuff. I like some of the country songs that Nitty Gritty Dirt Band did, especially the one where they had a guest singer on and he sung about the Grand Ole Opry. He wasn't a regular with Nitty Gritty, but he did a guest appearance. But those are some of them. On is Walmart. Yeah, that's their current brand. On products. By the way, my cheapo, super, super cheapo On earbuds from Walmart that I reviewed years and years ago, still working flawlessly. And some of the higher end ones that I've reviewed and purchased have died since then. But the cheapo Walmart ones are still working. Don't we all owe Columbia House some money? We all have this little fear they're going to come for us. Oh yeah, Hank Williams. What am I saying? Love Hank Williams. Spike Jones doing Hank Williams music? That's interesting. I know. It does look excruciating. It's crazy. It is like martial arts. You're right. Me too. Jim Reeves. Yeah, another great voice. See, there's so many. I could, if I wasn't, tired out of my mind right now, I could totally come up with some more. Sony did buy up a lot of labels. James Brown, very sampled. Epic label. Yeah, my all my Michael Jackson is Epic, obviously. Durabrand was another Walmart brand. Yep. Remember White Westinghouse? I think that was another one. Interesting. I think I mentioned this on the last live. I was talking to a distributor. I think it was the Crosley distributor. And he told me that another brand that people don't realize is associated with another company is Byron Statics. You'll see they sell like cheap tape players and stuff on Amazon. Byron Statics is an Amazon owned brand. I did not know that until he told me that. RCA has been a part of Sony. Yep. Hank Williams Sr. I not the biggest Hank Williams Jr. fan, but Sr. Yes, I love Hank Williams Sr. Godfather of Soul has been sampled the most. We talked about that. Eddie Arnold, yes. Yeah, and I liked Clint Black a lot. I remember getting into him for a while. Alan Jackson, obviously. What's the guy that won't allow any of his stuff on streaming? Oh, I can't think of his name. Not Clint Black. I love Clint Black, but Garth Brooks. I love Garth Brooks too a lot. Joseph Bennett, thanks for the super chat, my friend. The greatest artist of all time is Elvis Presley. You can't deny it. Just such a timeless artist. I love Elvis. Waylon Jennings, yes. Waylon Jennings has a special place in my heart. And, Waylon Jennings was the bass player for Buddy Holly and almost ended up on that plane. He had very serious depression and feelings of guilt because of that. You've seen Byron Static sold at Big Lots. Interesting. Whoa, Uncle Dan with a $10 super chat. What? That is crazy, my friend. Thank you so much. For modern country, please listen to Amanda Ann Platt and the Honeycutters. One of the best songs. I'm going to write that down right now. I'm going to save that to my Apple playlist. Amanda Ann Platt. Okay. Alrighty, I've added that to my playlist. I will listen to that. Thank you so much for that super chat, Dan. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Joseph, for the super chat. That's crazy. You guys are crazy, crazy. DJ Premier. I've probably heard his stuff. Primo. 90s country is great. Holy cow, Larry with the $20. You guys are crazy tonight. Are you serious? I will do, my friend. Thank you so much. I'm hearting all of these. You guys are, I don't expect super chats ever. And when they come in, they're just such a surprise. I'm just so humbled. You guys are it's an honor just to spend time with you. You guys are my friends. I so much appreciate our time together. I look forward to these shows, just hanging out. And it's an honor. This whole process of this channel is just, it's been a journey. And so many of you have supported us through anything we've done. Larry, you're, probably the prime example. No matter what we do, you're the first one to support. And I am so thankful for each and every one of you, just for being there today and every day. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. We have the best audience in all of YouTube. You guys are great. Thank you so much. Physical Stamina by Jeru the Damaja. Oh, thank you, Dan. You're so nice. Clay with the super chat again, my friend. Thank you so much. Oh, you guys are so kind. Thank you. Gosh, I have never gotten this many super. No, stop it. Oh my gosh, Matthew now. Clay with the super chat. You guys are being generous. You guys are so nice. So much. So thank you. You guys are so kind. And yeah, absolutely. It'll go back into the channel. We'll try to provide the best content. We spend a lot of time. My wife obviously is our producer, and she, do research continuously every day. For every minute of on screen, there's probably 5 off that are spent researching, acquiring, and driving and gas costs and things. And this isn't my full-time job. This is a passion. This is a thing of passion. That's the reason why. This is the reason why we do it. You guys are crazy. You guys are incredible. You're so kind. You're so giving, and I just want to provide the best content possible. And we want to give back. You know what I mean? We want to give back, which is why we give away those record players whenever we can. We've got more stacked up. My wife loves to say, when we're deciding what to do with a particular one, we're saying, no, that's going to be a giveaway. We give back. We've got records that we're going to be giving away. You guys are incredible. Just incredible. Yeah, and the records you guys have sent in, that's incredible too. You guys are just so nice. Notorious B.I.G. I actually created I read you some of my classic. I love Christian hip hop a lot. And if you're raising your eyebrow at that and you're like, what the heck? Look up the song Been About It by Andy Mineo, M-I-N-E-O. Lecrae, Misconceptions 4 or 2 by Lecrae. But I also like some secular hip hop as well, vintage specifically. So I made a playlist of some retro hip hop, and let's see if I can pull it up real quick. I've gone way over. You guys are so incredible. I just can't stop. Okay, going way back, Apache by Sugar Hill Gang. I love that song, man. That's good. You hear that coming up on a lot of like TikToks and things. some of the early Dougie Fresh stuff, La Di Da, the show, uh, old Rock Hymn stuff. I'm not really big on a lot of foul language and stuff personally. I don't prefer it. But obviously, it's unavoidable. Wild Thing with Tone Loc was a good one. Supersonic by JJ Fad. Rob Bass, remember It Takes Two by Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock. Bust a Move, Young MC, LL Cool J, obviously. I still every once in a while listen to Woo Ha by Busta Rhymes. Cracks me up. Yeah. That's the kind of music, and it's on streaming for me, that I will listen to, especially when I am like at the gym. If I'm on the treadmill, I get my 10,000 steps every day. Yeah, the album Neverland 2 by Andy Mineo, the song Been About It featuring Lecrae is one of the best. Andy Mineo's got a lot of great stuff. Am I looking only on my library? Yeah, I want to look just on overall now. Coming in Hot by Lecrae and Andy Mineo. You Can't Stop Me. Look at the music video to You Can't Stop Me. Those are two really, really good songs by Andy Mineo. Really good stuff. There's another artist is No Big Deal, and he has a really cool. Hold on. Nobigdyl. There's some great songs. Treetops is good. Parabolic is good. And then he did a collab with Andy Mineo as well called Willie. That's a great video. Look up Willie. Joseph Bennett with the super chat now. You guys are crazy. Thank you so much. So much. This is insane. Good grief. Okay, let me get caught up on these comments. I gotta pull the plug. You guys are too nice. Too kind. Vinyl Pilled WI. Just found your channel not long ago. I've been watching your videos. Nice to see you live. Thank you for being there, and thank you for joining the channel, or for watching the channel. I appreciate it. Speaking of old country, I'm just about to put some Freddie Hart on the table right now. Country vinyl is fun. It really, really is. Tupac. I'm not a huge. So, California Love. It's a classic. That's about as deep as I go on Tupac. No Big Deal. Christian hip hop artists has a lot, and same thing with Lecrae, are highly inspired by Tupac. Run DMC, yes, of course. My first CD I ever bought with my own money was the Run DMC Greatest Hits. No, absolutely. I would say that there's just a lot of great material when it comes to a lot of music all around. I love all genres. Did you fix that clear record player yet? Yes, I have fixed that, and I have given that to a family member who is very much enjoying it. I like hip hop and rap, but not a huge fan. Recently listening to Ice Cube and watched the movie Friday this past Friday. Well, it makes sense to watch it on a Friday, right? Yeah, it was just wired backwards, and the label on the back was, if once we got it straightened out, it was actually fine. I turned the air blue. To be honest, one of my favorite hip hop albums all the time is A Great Adventures of Slick Rick. I've got that Slick Rick M90 mini boombox with his voice as the voice prompts, which is very fun. Just a little story not long ago. I love that. I love that style. If you love hip hop, especially 80s and 90s hip hop, Go look at the music video to Been About It. Please do that. That's your homework. Been About It by Andy Mineo. They give an homage to album covers of all famous rap albums, and it's a blast. And it's a good song, too. And it's a great introduction to Andy and Lecrae, who collab a lot. Lecrae owns is the record label that a lot of these guys are on. Also, NF. Check out NF. He's a Christian, but he does not like gospel music. It's secular music, but it's, there's some incredible stuff. So look at NF intro. When I Grow Up. Gosh, there's so many good ones. All the intro, part 1, 2, and 3, outro. When I Grow Up is a great one. That's probably my favorite. Just go find the greatest, the most popular of NF. It's just phenomenal. His music videos are next level. House of Pain. I remember that. House of Pain. Dude, that guy is almost unrecognizable today. Belle Biv DeVoe. I love that music. Steve, thank you so much. De La Soul. Sorry, man. Steve, thank you for being there. Appreciate it. Everlast. Yep. NF is very emo-ish. I've heard people think he's emo. It's we. I guess I could see that. I've seen him in concert a few times. He's definitely an interesting character, but he's got some great songs. When I Grow Up is the best. We've gone from Bing Crosby to Everlast to Lawrence Welk. Love it all. Thank you for everything tonight, you guys. It's been a fantastic time hanging out with you. To those that were able to super chat, you guys are awesome. To those that weren't, you guys are awesome. To people that are watching the replay, thank you. To people that are in the live, thank you. I literally pray for you guys every night, and just collectively want you to know that. I hope you have a wonderful week, and stay safe out there. Have fun. We'll be back with more content. I love you guys, and we'll be back with another one real soon. Happy record hunting. See you real soon.